Know your place. That was the exact sentence my mother hissed across the dinner table on my 28th birthday, right before my brother handed me a napkin to wipe away my tears. For 6 years, my family treated me like a glorified maid, exploiting my income while telling me I was nothing more than a temporary guest in their house. They truly believed they held every card, leaving me with zero savings, zero dignity, and no way out. But they made one massive mistake. They forgot I handled all the estate paperwork after my grandfather passed. At the final family meeting, when they tried to officially kick me out, I didn't cry. I just slid a single county land registry document across the table. When my father read the top line, the color drained from his face, and my brother threw up right on the rug. Welcome back to BT Revenge Tales, where greed always meets its match. Before we dive into today's story, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and drop a comment below letting me know what city you're watching from. I love seeing how far our stories travel. My name is Sarah, and at 29 years old, I was treated less like a daughter and more like an unpaid servant in my own family home. Every single month, my parents demanded $1,200 in rent, on top of forcing me to buy all the groceries and cover the utility bills with my hard-earned salary. Meanwhile, my 31-year-old brother, Julian, the golden child who could do no wrong, lived completely rent-free in the master suite, spending his income on designer clothes and luxury trips. The tipping point came on my 28th birthday. I had saved a modest sum after months of exhausting overtime, hoping to finally put a down payment on a place of my own. But as we sat at the dinner table, my father cleared his throat and slid an invoice across the placemat. Julian wanted a new sports car, and my parents expected me to hand over my entire savings to make his down payment. When I dared to say no, my mother's face twisted into pure venom. She hissed, "Know your place, Sarah. Everything in this house belongs to the family line, and you are just passing through." Julian sneered, tossing me a napkin to wipe away my tears. That night, I realized they would drain me until I had nothing left. To understand how things got so twisted, you have to go back 6 years to when my grandfather, Arthur, passed away. He was the anchor of our family, the proud owner of our $1.4 million home, and the only person who ever truly saw me. When he died, my parents instantly took over the household, declaring themselves the rightful rulers. Almost overnight, my role shifted from beloved granddaughter to live-in maid. For 6 long years, they systematically wore down my self-esteem. If the coffee was too cold, my father screamed. If the floors weren't polished, my mother threatened to throw my belongings into the street. Julian played along, treating me like his personal assistant. They convinced me I was weak, dependent, and lucky to even have a roof over my head. But 6 years of emotional abuse creates a quiet observer. I started noticing small inconsistencies, strange property tax notices addressed directly to my grandfather's estate, and my father's desperate panic whenever official mail arrived. A gut feeling told me they were hiding something massive. That gut feeling finally drove me up into the attic late one rainy Sunday while my parents and Julian were out celebrating one of his minor promotions. Tucked deep inside a dusty oak wardrobe, hidden beneath layers of old winter blankets, I found Grandfather Arthur's metal lockbox. The key was right where he used to keep it, taped under his desk drawer. My hand shook as I unlocked the box and pulled out a thick, faded yellow folder filled with legal documents. I expected to see a will giving everything to my father. Instead, my eyes locked onto a certified land transfer deed dated 8 years ago, signed and sealed 2 full years before my grandfather died. Grandfather Arthur knew my father was a chronic gambler with mountains of hidden business debt. To ensure the family home would never be repossessed or sold off to pay those debts, he had legally transferred 100% sole ownership of the entire $1.4 million property directly to me. I wasn't a tenant. I was the landlord. A burning rage flared inside me, but I didn't scream or make a scene. Instead, I put the lockbox back, stayed silent, and took 3 days off work to visit the county recorder's office. I secured certified, stamped duplicates of every single property deed and tax assessment. The truth was bulletproof. The house was mine and mine alone. My family, completely blind to the storm brewing right in front of them, mistook my quiet demeanor for total submission. They assumed their birthday beatdown had finally broken my spirit. 2 weeks later, Julian strolled into the kitchen during breakfast, smirking as he poured himself coffee. He casually announced that he had decided to convert my bedroom into his personal home gym and gaming room. My mother didn't even look up from her phone as she told me I had 30 days to pack my things and move my bed down into the dark, unfinished basement. They truly thought they were driving me into a corner. They had no idea I was about to demolish them. The day of the move arrived, but instead of packing my boxes, I sat calmly at the dining room table with my hands folded. My father marched into the room, flanked by my mother and Julian, holding an official-looking piece of paper. With a triumphant sneer, my brother slapped a written notice to vacate onto the table right in front of me, a document he had drafted himself. "You've overstayed your welcome, Sarah," my father declared, his voice cold and booming. "This property belongs to the male heir of the family bloodline. Julian needs the space to build his future, and frankly, your attitude lately has proven you don't belong here anymore." My mother nodded in smug agreement, arms crossed, expecting me to break down in tears and beg for forgiveness, just like I used to. Instead, I looked up at the three of them, leaned back in my chair, and let out a soft, amused laugh. The complete lack of fear on my face threw them off immediately. Without saying a single word, I reached into my bag and pulled out the official county land registry deed, sliding the crisp, stamped document across the mahogany table. My father scoffed, grabbing the paper with arrogant disdain. "What is this trash?" he sneered, glancing down at the first line. Then his eyes froze. The color drained from his face so fast he looked like a ghost. His jaw dropped, and the paper began to tremble violently in his hands as he read the certified legal clause showing that grandfather Arthur had transferred 100% sole ownership of the entire property directly to me 8 years ago. They weren't the owners. They were non-paying occupants living under my roof. "What does it say, Dad?" Julian demanded, grabbing the paper from his hands. As my brother read the top line, realizing he had zero claim, zero inheritance, and zero power, his face turned bright green. He literally gagged, stumbled backward, and threw up right onto my mother's expensive dining room rug. The silence in the room was deafening. As my mother shrieked in horror, I calmly pulled 3 legal envelopes from my bag and laid them on the table. They were formal 30-day notices to vacate, along with an itemized invoice for 6 years of unpaid back rent. "Since this house belongs entirely to me," I said, looking my stunned family in the eye, "you have 30 days to clear out, or the sheriff will escort you off my property." Within a month, they were gone, forced to downsize into a tiny 2-bedroom rental on Julian's meager salary. I sold the property for $1.5 million, using the funds to buy a beautiful waterfront home and start my own business, completely free from their toxic shadow. Standing up to them taught me that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. What would you have done if you found out you owned the house all along? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to watch the next story on screen.